like I'm wearing a lab coat. Like, I'm going to draw your blood. Arr. Hi, good morning. It's about 3 o'clock for me. I feel like I'm so close. Anyway, so what I want to talk about today is introverts. Specifically because there was this video I saw going, I don't really think it was like going around TikTok, but I saw a couple people replying to it, and I might have, the original might have come up on my FYP, but I like swiped it because I was like, I'm not interested in this. And then it came back a couple of times. So now we're here. So there's this young woman. So basically, she was saying she's on these dating apps talking to guys. And if someone tells her they are an introvert, she basically does not want to entertain them anymore. She said she blocks them. I don't know if that was like being jokey and like extra, or if that's 100% true. But why am I anxious to talk about this? But she was saying like the conversations are like dry and boring. Introverts apparently don't know how to have a conversation, and it's like pulling teeth. And I've seen a couple of people reply to that to defend introverts, as they should, and say, you know, introverts are very interesting and very good at conversation, but if they have something to say, and more importantly, if they like you, or if you're interesting, or you bring up something that they are interested in, then introverts can talk a lot and talk very deeply, etc., etc. The whole introvert versus extrovert conversation in general grinds my gears because I think it's built on misconceptions that are my pet peeves. Like, in general, I do not like the way people characterize what it means to be an introvert and what it means to be an extrovert, because every person has a minimum social interaction that they need to have to be healthy and happy and feel good, and a maximum social interaction that they can have before they're like, I can't stand this anymore, I need to get out of here. It's just that some people lean more to one end and some people lean more to the other end, and they can be very extreme. So most people are kind of in the middle, even if they can say definitively, I lean more to this side or to that side. Even if you are like the life of the party, love adventure, want things to be non-stop, go, 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 all the time, love people, love partying, want to stay up all night, people, party, 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 all the time, there's going to be a point where you're like, I need some privacy and I need a minute. And if you are the person who's like, I hate people, I hate going outside, I want to be completely alone, I like to do things alone, do not talk to me, do not make me interact with you, don't look at me, don't come near me. There is, even if it's for 1 hour every month, you're going to hit a point where you're like, I'm lonely and I need to talk to someone. And then you go and like, you have a little like chat with someone and you're fine. And that's why, like, during lockdown, when people were saying like, oh, this is introvert's dream, no, it's not. Like, we were living through the apocalypse. No one was happy about that. Like, yeah, whatever. Let's not. Me personally, I think I'm kind of in the middle. Whenever I take the MBTI, Myers-Briggs personality test, I don't get a clear answer. I think for me, the test is too binary, even if I don't choose like middle options. I don't think it can type me. There's probably someone out there who's like, I'm a Myers-Briggs expert and I'm going to tell you exactly what your type is. And okay, good luck trying. But when I took the 16 personalities test, it gave me all of them. So I don't know, but I think I'm very in the middle, but I lean towards being introverted because I do really like being alone, and I am an introspective like person. Like my thoughts live in my head for a long time before I say them verbally. Thinking out loud is not a thing I do all the time. But I think when I have the opportunity to be extroverted, I do it. I think there are environmental factors and reasons why I'm more introverted. And if I had been able to like push myself in certain areas, I could be more extroverted. But in general, I can be really outgoing. I don't get super embarrassed just by like regular social awkwardness or like the little weirdsies that people have. Like, you know how like if someone waves at you and you wave back and you realize they're waving to someone behind you, that doesn't embarrass me. I'm just like, oh, oops, wasn't me. And it's fine. Like things like that are like embarrassing. How I see it is when I recognize that someone else is being a little weird and awkward in a harmless way, I don't judge them. So when I am a little weird and awkward in a harmless way, I'm like, they're probably not judging me. So I don't judge myself. You see what I mean? But I can be a loner a lot. And I think part of that is, like I was saying, environmental. Growing up, I did not meet a lot of people who I really gelled with super well. So it's like, oh, I didn't have a lot of friends, but it wasn't like from standoffishness or like ill intent from either side. It was just like, oh, we don't have chemistry. You know what I mean? My first thought when I want to like do something or go somewhere or like have an experience is to do it alone. And sometimes I get in the mood where I'm just like, I wake up and I'm like, I want to go here. And I just go and I don't think about it or plan it. But in general, even if it's something that I have to like put planning into, it's usually after I've been thinking about it for a little while that I'm like, oh, maybe I should invite someone to go with me or try this with me. And a lot of the time I just do stuff alone. I like going to the movies alone. I don't understand why people don't like to do that. Because in the movies, you're not supposed to talk. So, yeah, I do go to the movies with other people and we talk before and after and a little bit during. I by the time I decide I want to see a movie, it's usually been out for a long time. So, talking usually isn't that big of a problem. But if I just want to see the movie, there's no reason to me why I can't do that alone. I've traveled alone, not far. And other people were really worried for me, but I was like, I go outside alone already. And it's like, yeah, it's not a familiar area, but it's also not like I was going to like bars alone, like at night. I went to museums and diners during the daytime. But I understand why that can be more scary because you're in an unfamiliar place. And I do talk a lot. When I hang out with my friends, I come home and my throat is completely dry. My voice is hoarse. I I talk a lot. So can confirm, introverts do definitely talk a lot, especially if someone brings up my special little thing that I'm interested in. That said, sometimes I don't talk like at all. And it's not so. There's multiple reasons. Like, it could be I just have nothing to say, or I'm enjoying like the ambiance, or just like your presence. Sometimes it does feel awkward, sometimes it doesn't. It just depends on the person and the situation, you know? And sometimes what makes it feel awkward is, like, for example, I went to this like event to meet people, and I was like, okay, I should try to talk to people so that we can become friends. And I did a little at the beginning when it was easy to do so, but when it was like, oh, I should start a conversation, who should I pick? What should we talk about? I was like, let me just enjoy the area. And I talked to some more people a little more at the end when it was like more, it felt more natural for me to do so. So sometimes it's that. Sometimes I am shy, even though I consider myself outgoing. I don't like that when I was a kid, I was labeled shy. And I cannot verbalize exactly why I don't like that. But I don't. Sometimes, if I'm angry, I like physically can't talk to the person I'm angry with. Or what it is, well, I'm thinking of this specific example. Someone who I had gotten close to, like, very quickly, sort of revealed a side to themselves that made me feel betrayed, and I lost trust in them. And after that, I could not hide that from her. So it's, I don't, this isn't necessarily an introvert trait. I don't know. This is a me trait. I was just like, I can't fake being nice to you or like I like you. So I was just quiet, and it wasn't necessarily intentional. I just couldn't make myself talk, and there was nothing to talk about to me. But if I'm if I'm quiet around you, don't assume that that's the case. Like, I could just be not saying words. It's okay. But that brings me back to this video example. If you're this extroverted person and you block this introverted person because they were dry texting you, but the reason the introverted person was dry texting you is because they don't think you're interesting and you don't have chemistry, so they had nothing to say. It does sound harsher to say, oh, I blocked them for being an introvert, but actually the feeling was mutual. So I kind of have to defend extroverts here, just in that their actions were equal. One was just more direct. And you could say, like, oh, well, you didn't give them a chance, but they must have at that point, at least a little bit. Or maybe you have been giving, other introverted people the chance, and it always ended the same, and now that's why they have the bias against introverts. I don't know their life. Ideally, both people would be able to say, like, hey, the vibes are kind of off. I don't think we're a match. wish you the best. XOXO, bye. But like, people aren't like that all the time. It would be nice, but not everyone can say that, and not everyone can hear that. And that's okay. You know, we're all doing our own thing. I just don't think like a slow fade, even if it's unintentional, you just can't bring yourself to like fake enthusiasm or interest to make the conversation deeper, isn't necessarily less rude or impolite than just blocking or like ghosting intentionally. On the topic of like rudeness, another thing that really like gets my goat in this like introvert versus extrovert conversation is, and I'm going at introverts mostly in this video because it's my people. So I have a more full understanding of the introvert experience and a more full vision of what introverts are like. So I can't say like obviously it's rude for extroverts to be like, all introverts are boring and losers or whatever. But I can say like more in detail that I don't like the way introverts, people who like deeply identify as introverts and like make it their personality, talk about extroverts or the extrovert archetype. And there are things people do that are rude that they label introvertedness, and it's really not that. It's really just bad behavior. Like, people will portray being introverted as meaning you must be more intelligent, you must be like more classy, like you probably read more. And I even think the idea that reading means you're smarter than other people who prefer different forms of media is flawed, like majorly. I don't love that. Like, if you're reading lowest common denominator trash books, is that better than watching lowest common denominator trash TV or like movies? And is reading mediocre books really better than watching like high art, super like theoretical like cinema? And even to that, if you're consuming media that's considered like really like high class and sophisticated, whether it's in books or like movies, audio, music, whatever, but you can't critically engage with it or analyze it, that doesn't necessarily make you smarter than someone who can take really basic pop culture and show you what it says about society. You know what I mean? Whatever. So, as you can see, I don't like intellectual hierarchy. And I feel like a lot of people use the label introvert to put themselves above others. Like, something a lot of people will say is that, like, extroverts never say anything meaningful and just like the sound of their own voice. And that's harsh. Like, that's rude. Just as much as it's rude to say introverts are just boring. Like, you are, in both cases, what you're saying is, because your thought process is different than mine, it doesn't matter and it's not worth attention. And you have nothing to teach me or to show me. And that's never true. This video lives in my mind rent-free, but I do not think that I could find it. Again, just the horrors of TikTok. But I once saw this video where a young lady was talking about how whenever she makes plans to go and visit her friend, she will drive to this person's house, knock on the door, and this friend, another woman, answers, she's not anywhere near ready, like as if she had not planned to go any, like as if her plan for the day was to sleep all day, which, like, great plans. But you did tell your friend that you guys were going to go out. And a lot of the comments, basically most of them, were like, that's just introverted things. And that's not introverted things. That's rude and disrespectful to your friend. I did not like that. And it could be rude, or it could be a mental health thing. Like, I don't know this person's life, but if I made plans to hang out with someone and they were going to pick me up, and I knew that this was happening, and I remembered this was happening, and I just didn't get ready, I think mentally the only thing that makes sense is I would be mentally in a bad place. You know what I'm saying? But that's the other thing about the way people use the word introverted, is they'll hang on to it to avoid words like depression and social anxiety or other like neurodivergencies. And it's like, do you really enjoy being in your own company? Or are you afraid that your friends secretly don't like you, so you don't call them or ask to hang out with them because you think they hate to see your name come up on their phone? Do you like spending time by yourself in your room, or are you isolating yourself? Do you not feel the need to speak, or are you embarrassed about what other people will think if you do say something? Those are very different things, and I think it's important that people make the distinction for themselves and not just say, well, I guess I'm just introverted. And that association gives people the impression that if you're extroverted, you don't feel these things or have these experiences. Like, one of the most extroverted people I know has social anxiety. And if we go out together, I'm the one who talks to the waiter. You can be extroverted and be neurodivergent, or have anxiety, or have depression, etc., etc., while, like, swirling around in this topic a little bit. I was seeing people literally say all neurodivergent people are introverts. And that's a harmful way to think about people's brains and people's experiences. And it can be really, just in general, putting people into boxes like that, like, it's bad. It's harmful. All that being said, I do understand that introverts a lot of the time feel like society is unfair to them. I think especially in, like, school or large group settings where people are trying to force you to behave socially in a way that doesn't come naturally to you, or to, like I was saying, in school, forcing, like, participation, especially if you're expected to just jump in as opposed to, like, raising your hand. Or if participation is graded on the amount of things you say and not the quality of the comments that you make. Yeah, so I understand why, like, there's a rivalry and people use these, like, really harsh words. It's like, I know you're just playing around. a lot of the time. People, like, we're just being silly and goofy. Like, as much as it does, like, grind my gears, it's not that serious. I'm just thinking quietly to myself every time this comes up, these things. I didn't write a conclusion in my notes, so now I have to figure out a way to close this on my own. So I guess we'll go right to the outro. That's going to be it for me today. When I record this, no, I've done that already. When I edit this, I'm going to try to use a new software. So if the quality improves, thanks for watching. That is going to be it for me. So if you like me, tell a friend. If you don't like me, tell an enemy. Comment in the comments your thoughts on whether you're an introvert or extrovert and how you feel about the rivalry between them. I know it's just all silly and goofy and we're all having fun here. Mostly. Some people take it a bit too seriously. And that's really why I was like, I would like to make this video. Peace out.